everybody. Once again, welcome to Spartanburg. Welcome, Coach Sean Watson, and welcome to Inside Wofford Football, brought to you by Yokohama. I'm Jim Noble. Well, I was joking with Coach before we started taping here, saying, do you ever wish we didn't have a bye week? The Terriers are playing really well, 2-1 in non-conference play. Tough, hard-fought loss to William & Mary last time out, but for broadcasters, for fans, they're probably like, oh, let's keep playing. For a football team, maybe a bye week comes at a good time.
It does. This is, especially because we get a break between non-conference and conference. Mm-hmm. Our conference is obviously a buzzsaw, and it's a really good conference, and, we've got to get ready for it. So it's going to give us a chance to self-scout, look at ourselves, and, get better.
What sort of mental reset does that give these guys? Because there is almost a clear delineation between everything we tried to do in non-conference, playing one of the best non-conference schedules in FCS, and then in 2 weeks, that every game counts in terms of what you want to accomplish in conference. Does that kind of make it very clear for the guys?
No, it does. We're going to start working right away on Mercer. I mean, we'll have basically 4 practices before we really get into what is a normal prep week for Mercer, because we're, again, it's a great conference. Mercer is playing good football. And you got to get your start in conference with your first game, and it's a home game coming off a bye, so it stacks up well for us, and we got to take advantage of it.
All right, when we come back, we will recap that wild game here against William & Mary last Saturday. We'll also take stock of the Southern Conference, what has happened so far, what do we expect to happen down the road, and what does a coaching staff do during a bye week? It's all ahead here on Inside Wofford Football.
It doesn't matter if you're 8 years old or 80 years old, your body is your strongest tool. Spartanburg Regional Sports Medicine Institute is here to push you to the next level. With 2 convenient locations, our doctors can diagnose, treat, and heal at our North Grove Medical Park and Star Center offices to get you back in the gym, in the game, and to the next level. We never quit because you never quit. For more information, call 560-BONE.
Saturday night, Gibbs Stadium, number 13, William & Mary coming to the town, a team that you guys felt that you knew a lot about and because you had played them there up last year. But I want to talk first about the atmosphere of the home opener. I noticed on campus kind of a palpable buzz as I was driving in. The parking lots were full early. The students were into it. How juiced up were your guys to finally play at home?
Well, they were excited to play at home. We love playing at home, and the night venue here is awesome. It was a great environment, and you put our early success with it, and people were buzzing, like you said, and it was a great environment for our players, an exciting place to play.
And despite the fact that William & Mary took the opening kickoff and rolled 79 yards down the field, the crowd certainly kept their enthusiasm up. It was 7-0 early, and then after that, you kind of settled down. You got a big 4th down stop from your defense later in the first quarter, and then kind of as we neared the end of the first quarter, beginning of the second, you got the running game going, especially Ryan Ingram. How much of a point of emphasis, Coach, was that this week of practice, getting the big man rolling?
Well, it's been big for us. The first 2 weeks, we've really have not done what we've as coaches want. We want a better performance, and the guys really answered the bill on the offensive line, tight ends, and then, of course, Ryan was rushing the ball well, and JT added to us. So we were happy, when the game ended, we were happy with the performance. We felt like we got better in that respect.
This is going to be a theme throughout the recap of the William & Mary game. Second quarter, the offensive line is really opening some holes, and the Terriers tied it up at 7.
First and goal, Wofford from the 8. DeJetti in motion. Ingram up the middle, bounces outside, and he will stroll into the end zone for a Terrier touchdown, and Wofford is a PAT away from tying this one up.
Coach, that capped off an 85-yard drive, and I was watching some of the interior blocking, and Anthony Garcia and Briggs Curse, kind of your big old men on the offensive line, really were firing off the line and moving those guys backwards.
Yeah, our whole offensive line, tight ends, were doing a great job. We felt like we were in rhythm, and that's the first time I really felt like our run game was adding to our passing game because we were moving people and we were getting chunk plays.
So you tie it up. You get the ball back after they miss a field goal. And then, I was kind of watching the offense and Amari Odom, keeping in mind that this is only his fourth collegiate game, Amari was throwing some great deep balls, putting the ball right on the money. Some of the short passes in that second quarter stretch were a little off. He was facing a little pressure. And then we did have the turnover that gave them a bit of a short field. What did you kind of see from Amari? What were some of the good things and the things that need some work during this bye week?
Well, he's been explosive with the downfield passing. I mean, it's his downfield throwing plus 15 and beyond has been crazy. He's very accurate, and he's a great decision maker in those types of passes. Where we've got to improve him, and he's got to continue to prove his game is in the short passing game. We've got to continue to give him things that he can thrive on and get good at, and we've got to get him better fundamentally and help him be more on target.
So after that short field, William & Mary takes a 14-7 lead, and then you run a 2-minute drill to perfection. That is something that I see at practice. I see the clock go up on the sidelines, and you had to be really happy about that performance and that drive at the end of the first half.
We were, because we always talk about winning the middle eight, and that's the first part of the middle eight, and to come away with the score was big, and we work hard at it. We do it every day. I mean, we put a different situation with it every day that we practice. It's just part of our culture here. Learned that at Georgia from Coach Smart. These tight conference games or big games out of conference like this one was. You've got to be spot on. The middle eight is critical to winning football.
We saw Isaiah Scott, the talented freshman from Miami, with a big chunk play, big catch down the sideline, and then the Terriers punched it in right before halftime.
Wofford still has 2 timeouts in the pocket. 2nd and goal from the line. It's Smith. Touchdown, Terriers. Wofford roars back, and they can tie it up.
What an impressive drive. And remember, at one point, Wofford had 2nd and 15 because of a bobbled snap that they had to fall on. So nice job by the Terriers responding to I keep calling them VMI. They're not. They played VMI. They whipped them.
JT Smith with the score, 14-14. We had decided absolutely nothing after 30 minutes of play. When we come back, the second half, the thrilling conclusion. Keep it right here on Inside Wofford Football.
Did you know Ingalls only sells USDA Choice and Prime cuts of meat? Maybe it's time to reward yourself. Our butchers cut all our meat fresh in the store every day. Grass-fed, organic, you name it. Not only that, we'll even cut it to order just the way you like it. And we grind meat fresh in the store multiple times a day. It's all in the bag. That's the best meat in town for the best folks in town. Ingalls, low prices, love the savings.
And welcome back to Inside Wofford Football with head coach Sean Watson, brought to you by Yokohama. 14-14 at halftime. How are you feeling in that locker room? They were able to move the ball. You were able to move the ball. Where was your mindset after 30 minutes of play?
Personally, I feel good at where we were at because the defense was, beginning to figure out, and getting some stops. Every time you come into a game plan, you're going to get something different from an offense because they're not going to present themselves. They're going to present themselves differently. Sure. Is basically what they do. So they were getting back on and getting us the ball back, and then we were moving the ball on offense. You spoke of the running game earlier. That was going, and then we were doing a great job of getting the ball pushed down the field.
Yeah, I really like the balance in the play calling, and I'm not saying that just because I'm sitting next to the play caller. That was really nice to watch. Defensively, you were still missing some guys. Brandon Mena banged up, didn't play. David Powers tried to give it a go. When you face a rushing attack like William & Mary, it's tough to do that and not be at full strength.
No, it's tough, but we've got the philosophy here, next man up, and we had to move some pieces around. Caleb Oliver had to come into the defensive line, and then we were use O'Marion a different row, Seth at a different row, so it was all hands on deck, and it did hurt us with not having Brandon's such a big part of our stopping the run, and so is David.
Big rushing attack, third quarter, William and Mary. Bronson Yoder, we never want to see that guy again, but he got rolling again, and they scored to make it 21-14. Then we go to the fourth, and your defense really steps up. You get a big turnover. What a play. Isaiah Wadsworth knocks the ball loose. C.J. Coombs, who I thought had a really, really good game, pounces on it. Wofford's in business, and then Terriers took the ball and were able to tie it off on one of the best plays you'll see all year.
3rd and 10. They hit the big play last time in this situation for only their second third down conversion of the night. Now DeJetti goes in motion to the top. Odom is back to pass. He's got time, steps into one, and it's caught in the corner of the end zone for a touchdown. Jack Purdy, first collegiate score, and Wofford can tie it up yet again.
Great throw, great catch.
Well, we said somebody else had to step up. It turned out to be the redshirt freshman. How about that laser from Odom to Purdy?
First collegiate touchdown for Jack Purdy, as you heard. Maybe a glimpse of the future. A couple of redshirt freshmen connecting. But as you and I have talked, it could be anybody at any time in that wide receiver room.
It can be. We're traveling right now, really 10 guys. And, we have a good deep room, and they're all really competitive throughout the week. And, Jack's been a real consistent player on the practice field. And then for that to happen to him in the game, he just continues to grow. So he's a guy that's walked on, and he's done a tremendous job. Really excited about what his future can be.
21-21, crowds into it, stadiums jumping. They get the ball back, and I'm going to ask you about that last William and Mary drive. There were some interesting spots. There were some questions about whether we had made a fourth down stop or whether they had moved the chains. Did you ever get clarification, or what was your view of that sequence when they were on or about our 25 or 30 yard line?
Well, it's from where I was at, because I always try to get behind the ball so I can see what's going on with the offense, and it's hard for me to see, but the guys, the defensive coaches who track the ball, who stay with it. It could be a questionable spot, really, probably twice. And it's hard to get those overturned. So anyway, long story short, we just kept our head down and, kept working.
Yeah. Try to keep up with the Tribe. They were able to move it down the field, get the go-ahead score with 3 minutes and 40 seconds to go. Last gasp for Wofford. You kind of traded punts and things like that. Got the ball back with 28 seconds to go. It's desperation time. You get a first down on a roughing the passer call, and then Amari's got a couple of shots in the end zone. Purdy got his hands on one, but the defensive back made a great play. I thought got the hand in there, just barely knocked it away. And it just doesn't happen. You can't tie it up. I thought the fight, I thought the resiliency of your team, especially down the stretch, never giving up. Yeah, it's a loss, and it's a tough loss, but there were a lot of building blocks in this one, I thought, after the 28-21 final.
Yeah, our kids were very resilient, and throughout the entire day, we had to fight through a lot of things, and that's just typical of high-level football. I mean, we're playing a really good football team, and we're a really good football team. So I was really proud of the way we fought, and we had shots, and we did a great job getting the ball back to give us a chance to get in that situation. Hit a chunk play. Mari made a great throw, and it was a well-designed play, and puts us in position really to take shots, which are what we want to do. We really had two opportunities to come down football. So just a matter of finishing. And we finished those plays before, and I had all the faith in the world in our players. I trust them, and I told them before we went out there, so everybody knows we were going to play for the tie. We were going to play for the win. We were going to go for two. And I think that just our kids. I can't say enough about their effort and how resilient they've become. They've become a real good football team.
We were wondering about that in the booth, whether we were going to go for two. So now that question has been answered. I'll file that away for future use. When we come back, we'll take stock of the Southern Conference. After the first 3 weeks of action, we'll talk about what Coach and his staff do during a bye week. It's coming up next.
Black and gold. Bold. A victory story about to be told. Grit, toughness, and tenacity. A hub of hard work in Hub City. We're on these wins like dogs on a bone. In the Zone, our place in your face won't leave you alone. Strength, speed, fire, true. I'm sorry, do these things trouble you? We're Wofford College. We fly the W. Ingalls, proud partner of the Wofford Terriers.
Your Wofford experience starts here. And like the generations who have come before, you choose where it takes you.
What's up from Copenhagen?
Experience Wofford.
And welcome back to Inside Wofford Football, brought to you by Yokohama. I'm Jim Noble. All right, the bye week comes after week 3. I don't know, do you ever sit and look at a schedule? Is there a perfect week for a bye week if you're the head coach and you can just script everything the way you want it?
I love the way this one fell, to be honest with you. I like it falling right before our, conference season. It gives us a chance to get ready for our conference season. We can kind of step back. Number one thing we're doing right now is evaluating ourselves. We're doing our self-scouts. We're looking at what we've done well, what we haven't done well, what we need to improve on, and then who we need to, get in position, who's really performed in the first 3 games, targeting our people. So there's a lot of really good work that's already, gone into our preparation so far. And then we get a chance to get, really honestly, we're going to have 7 practices on Mercer. So, it sets up really well for us because this is a great conference and they're playing really good football.
Speaking of the conference, it's been a little interesting the first few weeks, especially non-conference play. I think Chattanooga and Western Carolina, the coaches poll, were the top picks, and I think they're something like a combined 1-6 so far. Some surprises there. I know you don't get a huge chance to really look at the overview of the conference before you start preparing for those teams, but has anything jumped out at you in terms of how the SoCon teams have fared in these first 3 weeks?
I think it's, as I've looked at it, it really goes to who we're all playing. It's like Chattanooga's played Tennessee. That's a tough one, right? Because Tennessee's a really good program. Then I look at some of the other, comparable, competition, comparable scores, and I think you really don't know in today's football because of this transfer portal and because everybody's loading up, and the difference. It gives you a chance really with this bye week to kind of step back and really take a good look at how people have done what they've done and who they're doing it with. So it's been a good exercise these first 2 days for us as a staff.
Final question: does Sean Watson ever get to kick back in front of the big screen with a bowl of popcorn and a beverage and just watch football, or do you have kids and grandkids and footballs bouncing in your head? How do you? You've had a lot of bye weekends over the course of years. How do you usually handle them?
I usually try to keep my fresh on for football, and my I don't want to burn me out because it's what I do is I do watch football. I watch it as a fan. I kind of watch the guys I have respect for and things that maybe I want to chase some of their work. This year it's my grandson's 2nd birthday, so I'm going to be on Friday. Mine's on Saturday, so we're going to have a joint birthday party. It's a big deal for me because he's my little guy.
Well, happy birthday in advance to both of you. We'll have to get him on the show sometime and fill a segment. But, hey, great start to the season. I would have signed up for 2-1 with that schedule before the season started. I know coaches always wanted to be 3-0, but a lot of good things ahead. And we hope you guys get rested and healthy, and we will see you in a couple of weeks.
All right.
All right. Special thanks to Coach Watson, of course. Thanks to Yokohama, as always, for sponsoring. And Omar Elmar, you can't see him back there, but his video crew does a great job with the show each and every week. And with that, I'm Jim Noble. Thanks for joining us on another edition of Inside Wofford Football, and we will see you in 2 weeks to recap the Mercer SoCon home opener.